How's an incredible 3-night stay in Queenstown for 2 Sound? Try out Kia's Footy Survivor. Pick a winning AFL and NRL side each week and you could win.
Sign up for Kia's Footy Survivor before August 12 at sensurvivor.com.au.
Right now, though, let's catch up with Port Adelaide ruckman Scott Lycett, thanks to McGain Real Estate, sold by McGain again. Scotty, good morning to you, mate.
Good morning, guys.
Mate,
no, hang on. We've got to clean up some things here.
Oh, here we go.
Now, Scott, we spoke to you on Drive last week. The good news is the West End has arrived in Melbourne. It arrived at 1:04 a.m. Now, how quickly they can get it from the Melbourne Postal Delivery Service to your front door, I'm not sure yet. But it's on its way.
That's great to hear, mate.
The only problem is now...
The game's getting closer.
That's right. So you'll have excess baggage when you go to the Gold Coast this weekend.
Yeah, I might have to leave a few jumpers and shoes behind to be able to fit them in the suitcase.
But at least you'll be a happy man.
It's too low for a couple of previews.
Yeah, they won't last long, so that's all right.
Maybe a couple of travellers on the way home. Scotty, taking on the Giants, like Rich said, Sunday at Metricon Stadium, 2:40 p.m. So let's talk about Brodie Grundy. Were you a bit concerned with your report for striking the great man?
Well, I wasn't actually... Didn't expect it to happen, to be honest, because I watched in the vision. It didn't look great, but in the game, I just thought I was going for the ball, and I just completely misread it. But the vision definitely looked a lot worse than what I thought it was in the game. So I'm happy that it was just a fine in the end.
Well, 2,000's a heavy fine, though.
That hurts.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an expensive trip for me, but. Yeah, he was all good. Yeah, I apologised straight after. Told him I was going for the ball, but obviously the vision didn't look great. But yeah, I said to him I was just going the ball and obviously misjudged it.
Okay, so you have a bit of verbal with Max Gawn the week before. You've got a nice little rivalry growing with Brodie Grundy. What's the chat like between the two of you? And you're both South Australians, so how's this work between you and Brodie Grundy?
Well, I wasn't doing too much talking, and he wasn't doing too much talking either. He's not really the type of player that was up, like they were getting beaten at the moment, so they weren't talking too much. But he's obviously a great player, and that's not really. I only really retaliate to the banter, so he wasn't really giving it out, so I wasn't really giving it to him.
There you
Silent
go.
ruckman.
Yeah. Well, importantly, you're playing this weekend, Scotty. And finally, we've got a fixture update. So travelling up to the Gold Coast, all the uncertainty that's been, I suppose, surrounding the broader part the past year and a half, but over the last couple of weeks, how's it all sitting with you guys? Is it part of it now, or is it starting to take its toll?
We're really embracing it. I think, we've done pretty good effort to, just adapt and, we've won a lot of games in the last year and a half, and I think last week we had Breaky 300 to go out for, and for the rest of the year we're focusing on trying to finish top 4. So I think our focus is not on COVID and not on all these things we've got to adapt to. It's just looking towards the future, and we know this is a big game coming up against GWS. We know they're a good team when they're up and about, so we're not going to take them lightly. And I think some guys are looking forward to getting home, don't get me wrong, but, we're still looking at getting the job done this weekend.
Scott, it is amazing how time changes things on a football team. I pulled out the file yesterday. Port Adelaide v GWS last year. You're rucking against Shane Mumford and your backup is Justin Westhoff and Charlie Dixon. This time it's going to be Peter Laddams. How much does that change the way in which you go about the ruck work this weekend?
Oh, it changes a lot. Yeah, I think a lot can happen in 12 months, but Pisty's obviously probably more of a ruck than those guys. So I'm looking forward to working with him and working him over because Mummy's obviously a bash and crash type player, and he gave me a good one last year. So I don't forget that. He whacked me in the back of the head once, so I'll have to make sure I even up the score.
Now this is a serious ruck contest because you've got some very, very challenging GWS midfielders underneath you. Hit-outs to advantage, all that sort of stuff. How challenging is this game for you to make sure you can set the Port Adelaide midfield on the right path?
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, I think everyone knows, the midfield that GWS have, and when they get up and about, they're pretty hard to stop. So we're going to try and make sure that they don't get up and about, I suppose, and the ruck battle is a big part of that.
Scotty, I love that you've got a bit of a built-up aggression from the last time that you played Mummy, and you owe him one, like you said. How do you sort of control that aggression, given that you've already copped a suspension this year, you're coming off a fine as well? How do you control yourself into not giving him one back in the back of the head like he gave to you?
Nah, well, he didn't get suspended or he didn't get fined or anything like that. So, I think aggression's obviously a massive part of my game, and when I'm playing with aggression, I think I'm playing my best footy. But obviously, it's got to be controlled, and I'm not going to go out there and punch him in the back of the head. That's that's never going to happen. So it's just being aggressive around the ball, but making sure it's controlled, and I'm not going over the top with it. But with my suspension, I don't think I'll be able to tackle him like I did with young Ned earlier in the year. So that'll be all right.
He's a big boy.
Selection, Orazio Fantasia returns. What does he add to your lineup?
Yeah, he's a massive in. I think when he was out, I think he was actually leading the goal kicking, to be honest. So I think he obviously knows where the goals are, and he's had his trouble with injuries, so hopefully he can stay on the park. But I think earlier in the year when he came in, he's proven himself to be quite a handy player in our lineup. So hopefully he can get some match fitness over the next couple of weeks and get back to where he was before he got injured.
Mate, one of your mates in the midfield, Ollie Wines, he's having an unbelievable season, and I think it's fair to say that we can say that part of that is the silver service he's getting from yourself. But take us through his game, the next level that he's got through, and I suppose what's the difference between this year and some previous years?
Yeah, he's obviously having a great year. I think I've been pretty lucky to, be around some guys in footy that have had some outstanding years. I was around Boakey last year when he came second in the Brownlow, and Nat Priddis when he won the Brownlow at West Coast, and it's been great to be around guys that have seasons like that. But I suppose with Ollie having the year he's having, I think he's just found the right balance with his life and footy. I think the last couple of years, he's had his trouble off field with injuries, with obviously the ski accident, and then just juggling his body and then juggling his form. So now he's got kind of put it all together. He's obviously having the season he's having, and it's a pretty special one to watch.
Any clarity, Scott, as to what actually happens this weekend, as to when you go to Queensland and what happens after that?
Yeah, so I think at this stage, obviously we're still in Melbourne at the moment. We'll fly up to the Gold Coast, and at this stage I think we'll try and get home after the game. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think we're still waiting on exemptions and things like this, but hopefully at this stage we'll go home straight after the game.
So do you travel on match day on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. So that's going to be one hell of a long day, getting up pretty early in the morning and getting up to the Gold Coast playing, and then coming back down to Adelaide. So hopefully we'll get the Monday off if that happens.
Yeah. The travel back will be fine. You'll have a couple of West Ends in the backpack. We'll get you through. In terms of flying up there on the same day, and particularly if it's an afternoon game, how does that sit with the playing group? Is it tough to deal with? Or I've just heard stories about players who actually enjoy it because you sort of get everything done in one day.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but when I think our schedule hasn't come out yet, but when you've got to get up at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m, things like this, the day of a game, it's probably not something you want to do every week. But I suppose we understand that to keep the game going, we've got to make sacrifices and do these things, and to keep the games going, and players want to get paid the same and all these kind of things. I suppose you've got to give and take a little bit. So players understand that, and we're just looking forward to playing and then getting home, hopefully.
Seems a long time ago, that Friday night game against Collingwood, to have Travis Boak celebrated for his 300th game. But one of the great side notes of it was Todd Marshall kicking those goals. How much did that mean to Todd to actually hit that sort of form again?
Yeah, well, he's been training pretty hard, so it's good to see. I think when you train really hard and you put the effort in off the track, you kind of get the rewards, and I think he's been doing that for most of the year. And obviously Toddy's probably a confidence player, and I think kicking those goals and having that work rate on the weekend last week, I think will really do him the world of good. And hopefully now he can just keep building off that game and have a big last bit of the year and big finals.
Hey, Scotty, we saw you guys yesterday getting around Kyle Chalmers and his epic finish in the 100-metre free. No doubt you've been smashing the Olympics. What sort of coach is Kenny? Is he the type of coach who's going to get some vision of the Olympics and use it as inspiration for the boys?
I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But, a lot of the boys are watching the Olympics at the moment. I think a lot of the talk is going around that, what would you do if you were in the Olympics? So I guess I'll ask you guys that. If you guys were in your prime when you were younger, what would you do if you had to choose at the Olympics?
Well, we're all canoe slalom experts now.
No, I don't want to be anywhere near the water, Scott. Thank you very much.
What about yourself, Scotty? You'd have a pick of several athletics events, surely.
Well, I think when I was younger, when I was in high school at Henley High, I actually tried to get poached by the rowing team down at Westlake. So,
really?
Long levers, I think they like. So maybe I might have something to do to keep fit when I'm finished playing footy there. Hopefully,
that's a thought.
I would have thought though. I just sort of feel like Scotty, you went down the right route. I mean, congratulations to the rowers that win gold medals, and perhaps the guys who get educated at Princeton and Yale, etc. But in terms of the path that you chose, I think you're on the right track. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Yeah, I think I've done well.
Yeah, well done, Scott. Well, safe travels. Collect the 4 premiership points, and we look forward to seeing you here next week for a showdown.
Yeah, look forward to it, boys. Thanks a lot.